Well, hello, and welcome back to Wildcat Week. I'm Roger Alcock. The Wildcat football team secured a victory against Lawrence Tech. The Blue Devils came to town this past weekend for the Wildcats' homecoming game. Joining us now is the head coach of the Wildcats, Jordan Langs. Coach, welcome back to Wildcat Week.
Thanks, Roger.
It's always good to get a win at home, at homecoming, and in the Mideast Conference of the Mid-States Football Association.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good homecoming crowd, great homecoming crowd. Our kids, we've played these guys 3 times now, which is kind of weird, but our kids did a nice job of coming out, executing the game plan, and not letting the crowd or the emotion of the day get a hold of them, and they played well.
We're going to jump into highlights here in just a second, but Coach, really, right before we go into the locker room at the half, it's a really tight ball game until Justin Johnson comes out with a big return, but it was a tight first half of football.
Yeah, no, we didn't finish in the score zone like we should have on offense. The defense came out and they got one quick on us, but I knew our plan was sound defensively, so I had no worry about that. But again, our special teams got back on track and really opened us up. This was a great return by Juice, and really the punt return team and the punt team played phenomenal the entire day. So that was good for us to use that to an advantage.
Well, that punt return indeed does set up the first touchdown of the day, and we like hearing Zach Blair to Braden Smith.
Yeah, it was good. Zach didn't force it to Braden. We all know what Braden's capable of doing. We talked a lot this week as a wide receiver group about getting yards after the catch, and that wasn't just Braden, but other guys did the same thing. So it was good for them it was good to see that from them.
Your defense did a really nice job, I think, the entire day, but you really held them in check against the run.
Yeah, I mean, our defense just keeps getting better and better, and Coach Clark's really got them rolling, and so that was good to see. This was, we gave them 2 good field positions a couple times and kept them on the field in a couple third downs, but we really settled in and felt good about the plan.
This caps off one of the great drives of the day. You guys go 12 plays, 64 yards, and then you pitch it to Jesse Dayglow, and he's got a nice combination of speed and power.
Yeah, he does, and he's got a knack down there of falling forward, which is why we like using him. And he's kind of carved out a little bit of a niche for himself down there, which is cool to see.
Lots of different guys getting in defensively, making contributions, and excuse me, but one of the things we noticed was just the depth on defense. It's not only that they're playing better, but you're playing deeper.
Yeah, and we were short a man too, so or 2 guys really, so we had to step up, and some young guys had to step in. Josh Fusco did a great job. Justin Brown, Adam Shantz had to play some different positions, and overall we got Lamont back, but it was good for those guys. I mean, our defense is really flying around to the football and playing really disciplined, which is cool.
Well, credit to the Blue Devils. They did put together a nice drive there. They got the Otero touchdown run. We saw Devodney Alford getting some minutes there for you, so it's good to see Devodney back on the field.
2-4 is a special, and he's been coming back from a pretty serious injury, so we're looking forward to continue to put him in the ball game.
This is a series in the game, though, or a point in the game where, excuse me, your defense makes the big stop, forcing the punt, and then the special teams convert. So that's kind of what I've heard you talk about, like this entire team or an all-team kind of effort.
Yeah, and Josh Fusco came up with the interception, got the ball back, didn't convert like we wanted to on offense. They come back out, we forced the punt, and we really liked our special teams plan. Coach Byer did a good job putting it together. And then anytime we get a little bit of a space with Juice, we think we got a shot at putting it in the zone.
So as you go into the second half, instead of that 14-10 game, it's 21-10, and that had to give your team a pretty good feel coming out of the locker room. Now they nail you deep down in your half the end zone, but you're able to get it out of there.
Yeah, well, it was it was a result of a poor special teams play, not catching a punt, which pinned us back. Which then when you do that with poor special teams play, you flip it back and forth and give them a short field coming back, which we did a good job of stepping up and making sure they missed the field goal. But eventually we get the ball back. You see Zach here making 2 really nice plays in a row.
Yeah.
Kind of a gutsy call to go there, 4th and 7. We had 3rd and long right before that. But he did a nice job of managing the situation and picking up the first down.
Zach was on the day 17 of 30, 240 yards. had a couple touchdowns, no interceptions. But like you said a minute ago, he made the big play with his feet to keep that one drive alive. And then, of course, we get the Dayglow 4-yard touchdown run, his second. But I loved what Zach did with his feet.
Yeah, Zach did a good job. It's about, sometimes playing quarterback's about managing your risk and your situation, and he did a really nice job of that.
Again, the defense comes up. You see, especially in the second half, Peyton Marksberry was able to get some pressure in there. Adam Shantz, your defensive front. Those guys up front were doing a really solid job.
Yeah, no, those guys are playing like a bunch of crazy dogs, which is cool to see. A lot of pressure on the quarterback. Their quarterback was really good. We knew we had to get hits on him to get him off his rhythm, and we didn't do that early, and then we started to wear on him a little bit.
Zach Blair, but Braden Smith, when he catches the ball, there's that pressure we were talking about. But goodness, Braden, he's faster than he looks and he's stronger than he looks.
Yeah, and he did a nice job of setting us up here, and then all of a sudden we flip it. Defense continues to do what they do, and then we score on defense. We score in all 3 phases of the game.
Yeah.
That's pretty special, and that leads to building an elite football team. So it was good for us to see.
And speaking of all 3 phases, again, special teams, 47-yard field goal would have been good from 57. I mean, Ben Von Gunten just drilled that one in kind of a weird crosswind. Yeah,
it was kind of swirling on us a little bit. We thought it was coming out of the south, but started to come from the southwest a little bit. But he did a really nice job. We need Benny. Benny's a weapon for us, and he got back on track for us this game, which is really good to see.
And then that kind of completed the scoring for the game. But your defense, really, in essence, pitches a shutout the entire second half. They come up with another big takeaway there. And now it's just a matter of kind of running out the clock.
Yeah, we got some of our younger guys and our backups in. We needed to run some plays with them. We kept it on the ground, but it was good for them to kind of get in and feel the heat of the game.
As we mentioned, Zach Blair, 240 yards, 17 of 30 passing, 47 yards rushing. And not that he rushed a lot, but he did a great job leading your team. But next now for you guys, you go up to Fort Wayne to take on St. Francis. The first time you ever take on the Cougars. They come off an epic win against Concordia. Be a real test for you guys, biggest test of the year.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we signed up for 3 years ago when we started the program. This is it. This is the stretch of games that we were heading into. Not catching us by surprise at all. They're a very good team, very well coached, great program. So this isn't about gearing up for one big one. This is about getting used to the new normal. And for us to get to that level, we have to play in these things regularly. So we're excited. We'll put together a great plan. Our kids will play really hard, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, Coach, again, congratulations on the homecoming victory.
Thanks, Roger.
Right now, first place in the league. And
so far.
We'll see how that goes, but one game at a time, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, as we mentioned, the Wildcat football team will be on the road October the 19th. They take on St. Francis up in Fort Wayne. Game time is a noon kickoff at St. Francis. Well, when we come back, we'll take a look at the men's soccer team and their big win over Marian. So don't go away. And welcome back to Wildcat Week. Well, the men's soccer team traveled down to Indianapolis to take on Marian University this past weekend. They secured a huge 4-1 result, their 3rd straight victory in the Crossroads League. And now the head coach of the Wildcats, Luke Sanford, joins us to break down this, not only just one win, but 3 consecutive wins.
Yeah.
And we were kind of teasing before the show, 3 results. We're
Results,
throwing a little
that's right.
soccer
That's right,
lingo
we've gotten some
there.
results,
But
exactly.
those are good results, aren't they?
They are, yeah. It's been a really interesting season for us, and proud of the guys having some resolve. We went through a stretch where we were not getting results either, but playing really well, which anyone that's spent time around the game of soccer, that's the way it goes sometimes. And so proud of the guys' resolve and kind of sticking together and that they got rewarded with some results.
In a moment, we're going to take a look at some Marian highlights, but before that, I wanted to go back to the game before. You go on the road up to Winona Lake to take on a really good Grace team, a team that's very hard to beat on their home pitch.
Yeah,
right?
on the home pitch, that's right.
It's been a long time since we've done that, and you guys really gutted one out there.
They did. The guys played really, really well. Their defensive commitment was fantastic, and Grace. We're a team that typically has the ball a decent amount and value to have possession and those kind of things. But Grace also want to play that way. And so when you go away, sometimes you have to concede some things, and we did that, and the guys did really well.
All right, well, as we take a look at this Marian game, you're on the road. I was going to ask you, though, the difference, though, at Marian and some other places, but you're playing on the artificial surface.
Yeah.
How does that change the game for you guys?
Well, soccer is unique in that, pretty much every other sport is played in a standard-sized field, right? So, I mean, that's a football field. I'm assuming that that's the same size football field as our team plays on. It just looks a little different.
Right.
Basketball court's the same. Soccer is very different, and so space is different, and the surface is different. So it gives you a real home field advantage. We've had field issues ourselves this year, so that's actually been a difficult thing for us. Our team, as you can see here, actually play really well on turf. The way we play, the way the ball moves, is smooth and a bit predictable, so we do pretty well on turf typically.
So prior to going down there, do you guys go over to Wildcat Stadium?
We do,
on our turf?
yeah. So we'll practice at night after the football team. And a big goal there by Cade Binkard. He was a big-time recruit for us. He's from Eugene, Oregon, and a fantastic kid. And he's played a lot this year as a freshman. He had to carry a pretty big role given some injuries we've had, and these were his first goals of the season, but we knew Cade was going to come on at some point, and it was exciting to see him do this game.
Yeah, it was a huge goal by Cade because you had given up the early goal to them, and that kind of got them going a little bit, but you even things up one apiece, and then it's was it Zach Hartgraves, I think, got your second goal for you guys.
Yeah, Zach's been brilliant. In a season where we've had just injuries all over the place, and he's had to kind of battle through one himself. He's been very consistent. He's had to drop back and play in our back line, which is not necessarily. He's kind of a midfielder by trade, but he's shot back from the back line and has done a really good job back there for us.
So you're up 2-1, going into the second half, and Zach, gets another goal for you guys, and he had a huge game obviously for you.
He did. Zach and Cade both, to use some more soccer lingo, they both had a brace, which means they both scored 2 goals.
Oh, okay.
And here's Cade again. This is a little bit of a sign. I mean, for a freshman to get going like this, in his agility and ability to run and strength on the ball is super impressive. He represses really well to win the ball back, and then hits it with confidence. It's a great finish by Cade. He's a heck of a player, man. He's going to be, I think, a big-time player in this program. And you can see how excited the guys are for him. He's been just like pushing and pushing to get a goal, and for him to score 2 is really important. Hold-up play here by Felipe Mendonça. He's been a massive player for us, too. He's got 12 goals on the season. Hasn't scored in the last few games. We've been asking a little bit more of him in a hold-up position and a lot more in his defending, and he's been brilliant. And slides McLean through really well there. Goalkeeper touches outside the box, so we get a free kick, and then Zach puts it right where you need it. Zach strikes the ball about as well as anyone I've coached. He's a very natural ball striker and technician. He does a really good job on the ball.
Awesome. Well, so you come out of there with the 4-1 victory. That sets up the next match against Taylor, and you go on the road over to Upland, and a big match for a lot of reasons. Yeah. It's Taylor, so it's going to be a big match. But also kind of that positioning as we come down to the wire here in the Crossroads League, and you guys are about, I think, a half a game ahead of them, or a game ahead in the standings. So it's a huge match for y'all.
But it wouldn't even matter, right? I mean, if we were top and they were bottom, or they were top and we were bottom, it would still be a close game. So we're expecting that, and they're a really hard-working group. They press really high up the field, and so they'll give us a good challenge for sure. I know that.
It's hard to think, but after that, there's only 2 more games left in the conference season before we start postseason play.
Yeah, it goes by really quickly. Our season goes by in a flash, and so that's one of the things that's been tough for us this season. Is we've had some pretty important guys get injuries, and let's say it's like a hamstring strain or something like that, and you're like, okay, it's a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Well, if it's 3 weeks, that's 6 games. That's a third of our season.
Yeah.
So we've had that happen to a couple of guys, and so getting guys back healthy, and that's been a big boost for us.
Well, again, congratulations on the win streak, Coach,
so
and good luck against Taylor. And we'll be hoping for another Wildcat victory there.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, as we said, the men's soccer team is traveling to take on Taylor. The game is Wednesday, October the 16th, and the kickoff is at 7 p.m. Well, when we come back, Mikala Woodfork will bring us this week's breakdown, and we'll take a look at the most recent women's soccer victory. So don't go away. Well, welcome back to Wildcat Week. Now we send it over to Mikala Woodfork with this week's breakdown.
Thanks, Roger. Both the men's and women's soccer teams gathered wins from Marian. The men won 4-1. Marian scored their first and only goal in the 22nd minute, and after that, the Wildcats buckled down and scored their 4 goals. The women won 2-0, earning their second straight top 25 win. Lexis Garcia scored the first goal in the 9th minute, and Kenzie Miller scored the second goal in the 25th minute. Volleyball is back on their winning streak. They came back hard, beating IU Kokomo in 3 straight sets. The first set ended 25-18, the second set 25-19, and the third set 25-18. Both the men's and women's golf teams competed in the Battle at the Hinge. The women ended the first day of the competition in second place, just 5 points behind Grace College. But they came back harder for day 2 and earned first place out of 10 teams with 630 points total. The men ended both day 1 and day 2 in third place behind Mount Vernon and Spring Arbor with a total of 618 points. And finally, for homecoming, the football team faced Lawrence Tech and won a whopping 45-10. Well, that's all I have for you this week for the breakdown. Back to you, Roger.
Well, thank you so much, Mikala. Well, now we turn our attention to women's soccer, and they are on a win streak of their own. Joining us now to talk about the Lady Wildcats is Daniel Seiffert, the head coach of the Wildcats. So, Coach, welcome back. And
Thanks.
First of all, congratulations on a big win on homecoming weekend against Marian. And before we get into all the highlights and stuff, I just want to ask you really quick, though. When we talk about the Crossroads League, you guys are 12, 1-2 overall, but 5 wins, no losses, and a tie. Mm-hmm. In the conference, you're in first place, and this is a conference that has 6 teams either ranked or receiving votes. So I don't know if you expected that. I knew you guys would be expecting to be competitive, but being in this position right now is it's an awesome accomplishment.
Yeah, it's awesome. First of all, it was a great weekend for all the Wildcats.
Yeah.
It was a lot of success all across the table. But yeah, our league is extremely extremely strong. If you look at all the teams year in and year out that are ranked or receiving votes, to have 6. To be able to be ranked in the top 20 or receiving votes area, like that just shows the strength and competition of the league. And no game is going to be an easy game. Every game is going to be a challenge, and so we have to do our best to show up each and every game.
Well, we're going to take a look at some of the highlights. This is the homecoming match against Marian, and a 2-0, a shutout win against Marian at homecoming. And we had the football game, and it's beautiful afternoon, a little bit chilly and windy, but 2-0, always great to get the shutout.
Yeah, no, our defense, and this is actually where we got our first goal. Alexis Garcia has been playing extremely well this year with just the ability to strike a ball with power, kind of catches the keeper, off guard with the mustard that she put behind it, to say the least, and so it's just been cool to see. And then I think coming up in a short bit, you'll see another goal by Kenzie Miller. But these girls they continue, we're starting a pretty young team out there, but to see what they continue to do, how they fight for each other, it's really just encouraging because it's just the next player up mentality.
Well, I want to get back to Lexi Garcia just for a second. Last 5 games, or 5 goals in the last 5 games. She's really just being incredibly productive for you guys.
Yeah, no, she's been doing a great job, and it's testament to the rest of the forwards that are working to put her in spots to score. Our goalkeeper and defensive squad has been doing just a terrific job as well. When you shut out a team like Marian, who's a top 15 team, we gave them a couple opportunities, and just our defense, worked hard with each other, came up big with a couple big saves, especially going horizontal with some of them. It's really showing a maturity from a young group. And I think this is actually where we lead up to the goal right here, where the ball will end up coming back, and then in this situation gets crossed in, and another freshman of ours, Kenzie Millard, is able to get in behind the back line and just get a little outside the foot flick for the second goal early on, which has been really big for us to come out early and get those early goals.
Well, you mentioned Marian, the number 15 team in the country. We're going to talk a little bit about the Grace win, but they are number 20 in the country. And then you had a draw against the number 13 team, Spring Arbor. So, I mean, you're running the gauntlet there a little bit. And to come out with, 2 wins and a draw, I don't know if you can expect a whole lot better than that.
No, it's been really encouraging. I think our only loss was the very first game of the year to the current number 5 team in the country, and that was in double overtime.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, Grace is a strong team, and getting that goal in the first 2 minutes that Lexus got there was just really set the tone early on when we can come out and get those early goals. But you're right, when you play number, 5, 6, 7 teams that are ranked or receiving votes, it's encouraging for a young team to come out and know that they can compete with anyone. It doesn't matter what age they are or what ranking they are. We kind of come up and try to put forth our best effort.
I wanted to ask you, though, you seem to be getting a really good, or your team seems to be coming together because you got quite the mix of some really talented freshmen, but you got some great seniors for you as well. And sometimes those groups don't always come together so well or so easily, but they sure seem to be doing so.
They're doing a great job. Our leaders on this team, our seniors, Abby and Lexus and Hannah Sievers and Allie and even Olivia, who has a torn ACL right now. She's going to take a redshirt this year, but it's just been awesome to see just how these seniors and juniors have just led this team. I mean, we may be young on the field, but it's because of the mentality and kind of the culture that has been established by our upperclassmen.
I also wanted to, you briefly mentioned your defense just a little bit ago, but every team's going to go through maybe a little bit of difficulty, maybe scoring it sometimes, but if you can play consistent on the defensive side of the field, you're in every game.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You can't really lose if you don't get scored on.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I've learned about soccer is you can't lose unless you get scored on. So being able to have a defensive group that if you just see, we just swarm with numbers around the ball and just try to make it difficult. Sam came up big in that save right there. She's been not playing like a freshman by any means, and so it's just been cool to see just how these girls work for each other and try to create opportunities for each other.
Again, these are some highlights against Grace, and this was a game against Grace. You came off the Spring Arbor matchup there, and you knew you had a Marian ahead of you. That they're ranked 15, and I'm not gonna say this is a trap game, but kind of it's the in-between game, and it's a game that might be the most difficult of the 3 to get up for potentially.
Yeah, well, it's just whenever you're playing teams and we're coming into these matches, on paper as the underdogs, you have to figure out a way to stay motivated. And we're currently in the middle of the gauntlet run is what we call it, where we take on Marian and then Grace and then Taylor, who are all 3 like physical, technical, athletic teams. We're just trying to make sure that we come out and play our game and can hopefully put the ball in the back of the net like that a couple times and makes for some exciting soccer, that's for sure.
And that shot there, impossible for the keeper to get to.
Yeah. Alexis has one of just a ridiculously strong left foot.
Yeah.
When she puts the power behind the ball, it makes it very challenging for any goalkeeper to stop. And again, just trying to get numbers in. That's where we gave up the goal after we scored and went up 2-0. We try to own those critical moments directly following, and we gave up a goal shortly after that. But credit to the girls for fighting through for the rest of the 90 minutes to hold on to the 2-1 lead and put us at the top of the table for the Crossroads League at this moment.
3 games left, and first of those 3 is against Taylor. Obviously, with the guys and Coach Sanford, it really doesn't matter what the records are, where it's at, what time of year. It's just going to be a really a hard-fought, well-played game.
Well, and Taylor's a fantastic team. Their only loss in the non-conference was to number 3 UNOH. And besides that, I mean, they have another 10-win season. They're firing on all cylinders, and Coach Stan has been there for a while, has had that team in good working order, and so I know that we have a really tough matchup this week, so we got to be ready. That's for sure.
Awesome. Well, Coach, again, thanks for stopping by. Congratulations on the wins, and hopefully get one more great result against Taylor. Okay?
I would be okay with that. We would definitely be okay with that.
Well, as we said, the women's soccer team will be back in action on Wednesday, October 19th, as they host their rival Taylor University Trojans. The match begins at 7 p.m. Well, that's all we have for you on this episode of Wildcat Week. If you have any, or if you'd like to see more of Wildcat Week, you can visit our website, wiwtv.com. And there you can watch past episodes. Connect with us online there at wiwtv.com. And you can stay connected with all our local programming by subscribing to our YouTube channel. That's WIWTV. Well, we look forward to seeing you next time. So for all of us here, thanks for watching Wildcat Week.